Hello everyone and welcome to another Rise of Kingdoms video. This is Dragothien here, and today we're going to be talking about Guan Yu. He's the newest commander out on the Wheel of Fortune. He just got released yesterday. I don't have him on my kingdom, but I did go out and find a kingdom that had it, Kingdom 95, and I went ahead and summoned him there so that I could have him available for you for a talent build, and then also I'll show you what his skill looks like as well, because it looks pretty neat. It's a little unique, and it's got a dragon on it, so I can't complain too much. So, with that being said, we're going to go over his skills really quickly. We're going to have a talent build for you as well, which is also already on my Discord if you want to check the Commander Trees section on my Discord. And then I'm going to give you 6 pairings, and 3 of them are going to be damage-based, and 3 of them are going to be tanky-based. So Guan by himself is a very damage-oriented infantry commander. He's got a massive AoE with massive damage. There's a lot of buffs and benefits inside of the skills that he has to boost that damage. But then also the pairings that you put with him as well can make him even more damage dealing with the second commander that you're going to use. Or you can pull a little bit of a hybrid situation and have a commander that's going to give you a little more damage, but also a lot more tankiness and versatility on the battlefield with buffs and things like that. So with that in mind, let's quickly go through his skills. Saint of War, it's his main skill. This one is the big boy, and again, this skill makes him have to be a primary commander. Losing half of his damage makes him basically a Sun Tzu. So you really want to make sure that you have Guan Yu as a primary for any of the pairings that I'm going to suggest. This is kind of a must-have in my opinion, but this does direct damage to up to 3 targets in a fan-shaped area. The fan looks like Sun Tzu's fan or Kusunoki's fan, any of those AoE type commanders that don't have the huge fan like a Richard or the 180 degree fan like an Ethelfled. This one is like the Sun Tzu fan, and it has a damage factor of up to 2,000 as a primary commander and 1,000 as a secondary, which is again why you need to have him as a primary. And it also silences these targets for 3 seconds. So this is an AoE silence, guys. This is an AoE silence. It's pretty sweet. This is already a heavy damage, one of the highest damages in the game for a primary nuke. You're also going to be able to hit 3 targets with it at once, and it also AoE silences everything for 3 seconds. Why not? Now, the more targets you hit, it does have a little bit of a damage reduction, so it says damage dealt to all targets will be decreased by 15% for each additional enemy. So damage can go down as much as 30% based on how many targets you are hitting. In the real world, that likely will be the case. In a one-on-one duel, obviously that does not apply. When Guan Yu is serving as a secondary, again, it's a decrease to the damage. So this is a massive, massive skill. It has a lot of damage output. It also has some really nice utility with an AoE silence. So very, very nice. Definitely a great skill. Second skill, 5 Tiger Generals when attacking garrisons. So this is a conquering skill. Increases normal attack damage by up to 15%. Normal attacks have a 10% chance to reduce a single target's attack by 30%, up to 30% for 3 seconds as well. So this is a really nice conquering skill. It's going to give you more damage, more attack, and then also reduce the damage that your the city that you're attacking is going to give you. So very, very nice. This is a boost to damage and a boost to defense as well, basically is what it turns out to be. Third skill, the Slang of Huajiang. Increases infantry units attack by up to 30% and march speed by up to 15%. Those are always good things. Upon leaving battle, you also get a heal of up to 1,000 healing factor, which is really nice. That's almost as big as a Richard heal, folks. So you need to look at that and take that into account. He's going to be a little speedy, and if you pair him up with another speedy commander like an Alex or a Charles or something like that, that will also increase the speed as well. So very nice march speed bonuses. The attack and the march speed bonus do not require leaving battle, but the heal does, okay? So this also helps in PvE as well, but again, Guan Yu is a master of PvP. AoE combat, I think, is going to be his main use. He's also going to be a really good rallier, but he does have a good use for PvE as well with that healing factor. It's going to keep your troops out on the field a lot longer. Using Guan Yu with Richard out on the PvE field for those events that make you stay out forever, this could definitely work. Fourth skill, Green Dragon Crescent Blade. When the skill Saint of War, which is the primary nuke, hits only 1 target, there's a 50% chance to deal an additional up to 1,000 damage factor to the target, which is nice. When the skill hits 2 or more targets, there's a 50% chance to deal up to an additional 1,400 to the current target. So again, it says to the target. This is not, based on what it says, an AoE extra damage. So you'll see the extra damage tick on the target that you're actually attacking, but the AoE stuff will remain unaffected and only get hit by the actual nuke itself on the primary nuke. So that's nice, and if you're trying to target down a particular target, which you should be doing with all 5 of your armies on the battlefield, this is really nice. It's just extra damage going out. And again, keep in mind, this is additional damage factor. This is not just damage, okay? So you have to keep that in mind when we're building our talent build, which I'll show you in a little bit. Finally, the expertise, Lone Rider. Whenever Guan Yu gains a shield, he also increases his active skill damage by 15% for 3 seconds. Whenever Guan Yu leaves a structure, he increases his march speed by 100% for 3 seconds. So again, this is really, really nice. You have to kind of keep in mind how the mechanics of the game work, though. So to gain a shield, and if you're having him as primary, you're not going to be able to use a Charles, because Charles, running his shield after Guan has already used his skill damage, it's not going to have enough time to impact the next nuke. So using Charles II is out for this particular use. You have to have something that has a random shield, or you have to have something that maybe is a piece of equipment that grants a random shield. We'll talk about that in a little bit too. And again, for the structure, the march speed is really, really nice. 100% is better than hasty departure. And if you're able to combine this, if you want to have a very speedy infantry army, you can spec a Constantine that has hasty departure in the support tree, use him as primary, and then have Guan secondary. I know I just said don't do that, but if you want just massively fast infantry, that's a way you can do that by being able to resource tile hop or city hop or flag hop between structures. You can have that march speed up for quite some time, including hasty departure as well. Also the talents that provide march speed, and then also just the march speed bonuses that you get from the skills as well. So those are the skills. Again, I think this is a guy who is geared to be primary. He is geared to do massive AoE damage and be tanky to boot because he's infantry. He's got attack bonuses, he's got march speed bonuses, and a ton of different skill damage bonuses. This is what he's going to be best used for, in my opinion. Now, talents, he's got the infantry, conquering, and skill path. So let's go into the talent build. I'll do that first. That's this puppy right here. I don't think there's really a better way to build this, giving you what you need to have. So on the skill tree, I gave him everything, all the way up to feral nature, and I also added in latent power, which is, again, a talent that's specifically designed to enhance additional skill damage, which we just talked about before. Part of his 3rd or 4th skill, I think it's his 4th skill, gives additional skill damage, and it's a big number, guys. So this is not a talent that's going to be a minor impact. You want latent power on this build for sure. I toyed around with not having feral nature, which is the biggest talent you can get in the skill tree, but for what I got for those extra 10 points, I didn't really feel like it was as beneficial as having the potential to generate a ton more rage all throughout the fight. So all the skill power, all the skill talent tree is basically taken up with the exception of Naked Rage. That's also a play that you might want to play with, but I didn't want to give up some of the other things that I was able to achieve on the other talent trees, being infantry and conquering, to give up for Naked Rage. So let's go to the infantry tree. You're going to get Undying Fury, which is the one just underneath the word talents. That's going to give you an extra 9 rage every time you do a normal attack. Also, Iron Spear to the right. That would have been the one I would have given up for Naked Rage if I wanted to do it, but I just don't think it's worthwhile. This will give you an extra 9% damage to cav units. And again, you should be focusing primary on cav units. And there's a ton of cav units out there, guys, so you should not have a shortage of targets at all. I skipped Double-Headed Axe because it's only a 1.5% normal attack damage bonus, in favor of going all the way up and getting the health bonus at the top right from Strong of Body, which is a 6% health bonus for only 3 points. That's a very good value for 3 talent points. On the way to get that, I also got Call of the Pack, which gives an additional 6% defense once your army has been reduced to 50% or less, which is also very, very nice. 6% defense for 3 points, a very good value. Now, finally, going to the Conquering talent tree. You've got 10 talents in there, and there's only 2 talents in there that you want to have, especially for open field. That's going to be Moment of Triumph. While the army is led by this commander is over 90% strength, so you have 90% of the troops inside of your army, increases all damage dealt by 9%. That's huge. That's huge, especially at the very beginning when you start seeing his skills proc off on 3 targets or 1 target, and then the 4th skill procs off as well. And then on top of that, some of his pairings procking as well. This is going to be a monster damage dealer that's going to be hard to take down. So Moment of Triumph is definitely something that you want to have, especially at the beginning of the fight. You can make somebody run just by doing a massive amount of damage right off the bat. And then to do a little more tankiness for this commander, again, if you end up going against an Attila Takeda, or if you go up against something with Charles, anything with massive amounts of counterattack damage, Buckler Shield, which is the bottom yellow or gold, whatever you want to call it, bubble is going to reduce the counterattack damage you take by 9% all the time. That's definitely something that you want to have on this build. More tankiness, more damage. That's the name of the game with this build. This is the one that you want to go with. I think this works for both open field and rally. This is not a bad build for either one. And if you do PvE, this will also work. If you have those events, like I said before, where you have to be out there all the time, this will be just fine because it will give you all the stuff you need to mow through things pretty effectively. Now, let's go to the pairings. I'm going to do the 3 damage dealing pairings first. Then I'm going to go do the 3 hybrid / enhancing pairings next. So first off, I think this one's going to be pretty obvious. I've been screaming it from the hilltops. YSG is, in my opinion, the best pairing with Guan Yu for massive amounts of damage. He will give you an extra rage engine with the 2nd skill from YSG. He has a 50% active skill damage bonus on his 4th skill. It's absolutely amazing. And then again, he has a really solid AoE nuke that's in a circular pattern as well when he is expertised. So this, in my opinion, buffs everything that's good about Guan Yu. It makes it even better. And then he also deals a ton of damage on the back end as well. Why not? Why not do that? I would absolutely use YSG 100 times out of 100 with Guan Yu. The second pairing, I think, is another version of YSG, which is going to be Sun Tzu. He has a bigger target capability with 5 targets with his AoE reduction. He's also got some more tankiness with a damage reduction skill on his 2nd skill, and he also has a active skill damage booster on his 4th skill, but it's only 25%, not 50%. Also, his main nuke grants more rage depending on how many targets you hit. So if you're planning on hitting a bunch of targets anyway with Guan, this will also give you more rage and more damage as well. This also has additional damage factor. So the latent power talent in the skill tree will affect positively on Sun Tzu. He has a primary nuke, and then he's got a secondary piece that also ticks 1 time whenever he nukes. Third and final one, and again, there's more here, guys. You can go Kusunoki, you can go any backup nuker will work with Guan Yu, but I like the synergy with Freddy. Freddy's going to give you an extra 15% troop capacity, which is always nice. He's also got the best single target nuke in the game from a damage standpoint at 2400 after the 3rd tick damage factor. And then also he has a heal. So again, he will help Guan Yu maintain the battlefield presence a little bit longer by having the heal. So he also, again, his main nuke is additional damage factor, so he will gain the extra benefit from the talent build that we just went over. I think this is a really good pairing. Freddy is also one that I use with other additional damage factor commanders like Minna, like Mehmed. All those will tend to work very well together. Okay, so those are my top 3 damage dealing secondaries for Guan Yu. Let's go to the hybrid / tanky. There's a reason that they're bringing these commanders out in pairs. They want you to max them both, and the reason they want you to max them both is because they work best together. So Leonidas has a lot going on for him. He's got the random capability of generating a shield, which we just talked about, impacts his expertise. He's also got silent extra damage to silence targets, which again is something that is done through Guan Yu's primary skill. He's also got an extra tanky expertise as well. So, I mean, there's just a lot of things that from a skill standpoint, Leonidas works very well with Guan Yu. And I think actually from a rally perspective, this might actually be the best pairing, Guan Yu and Leonidas, or Guan Yu and YSG. That would be my go-tos whenever I go to rally commanders or rally cities. with Guan Yu. It just works really well. The pairing works really well together. All of it synergizes together. Next thing is Alex. Alex has another shield as well, but again, it's the same problem with Charles. However, I like the debuffs and the buffs that he provides. He has a buff that when you combine it, both skills together, you have an additional 70% attack, troop attack, which again, not only affects the actual raw damage that your army is putting out, but also does have an impact on your skill damage. So 70% extra attack from just Alex's skills is very, very nice, and is pretty much active 99% of the time whenever he's not shielded, which is, again, only about 1% of the time, considering he pops it off once every 8 to 10 seconds, depending on how fast the skills go off. So Alex is definitely a good pairing as well, especially for the open field. He has a lot of utility, a lot of buffs, debuffs, and shieldings, and again, they just work really well together with all the extra damage and march speed bonuses that Alex provides. Finally, I think this goes without saying, Richard's good with everybody, and again, being an infantry commander, he has an attack and defense skill. He has a massive heal that will keep Guan Yu on the field longer. You're taking some of the damage away with some of the other pairings that we just went over. However, having a massive heal behind any solid tanky group is going to make that army stay out on the field quite a bit longer. So I think Richard is a solid pairing if that's what you've got to work with. Guan Yu Richard will work 100 times out of 100 as well. And again, this will also work with PvE as well when you're trying to stay out for killing barbarians and Mongolians and whatever, as long as you possibly want to, between Guan Yu's skill that gives him the healing factor on his third skill, in addition to the heal that you get from Richard. This is definitely a good solid pairing. So that's the way I would do that. So that's the pairings. Those are the pairings that I would use. Again, top to bottom is how I would go rank 1, 2, and 3. And then again, you saw the talent build as well, which I'll put up again at the very end for you so you can take another peek at it. This is the build, I think. I can't see any more enhancements that I would make, because everything else on the Conquering tree is Watchtower based at the very beginning. And then you've got Thoroughbreds at the bottom, which is also a movement speed based thing, which just doesn't seem very needed to me for this. It's infantry, you're going to be slow, plan on it. And then all the infantry talents that you have available to you, the only one that I would want to maybe shoot for is Hold the Line on the top left, but for this particular build, you have to give up a lot of points to get there, and that means you're going to be losing rage, you're going to be losing damage, you're going to be losing tankiness with counterattack damage from Buckler Shield. So this is the build I would use 100%. The pairings, I would use those pairings as well. Guan is going to be a monster, guys. I hope you enjoy him. For those of you that have him, for me, I'm waiting anxiously. I've already got over 400 Universal Sculptures saved up from all those events that we've had over the last month and a half, and I'm going to continue to save until he comes out on our wheel, and I will be maxing him as soon as I possibly can. So I hope you've enjoyed this Mastery Series guide. Cheers, have a good one, and take care.